never got it, why'd you have to go? I guess this world's too slow for you.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Priyanka. I'm 21 years old and this video is about how I got my F-1 visa. Let's get started. Let's talk about what you do once you get accepted in your dream college in the US and how do you procure your I-20. I-20 is basically a form that you need to submit in the visa office to get your F-1 visa. So obviously every college has a different process, but mine asked me to fill this Google form. So generally universities ask you to pay the deposit fee or the tuition fee of the first semester as a token amount before they process your I-20. So once you have made the payment, you also need to submit a proof of funds or a financial affidavit showing that you have enough funds to pursue the education and live in the US. So in my case, since I am enrolling into a 2-year program, they asked me to show enough funds for at least the first year's tuition fee and cost of living. So suppose my entire program costs 80 lakhs, I need to show them at least 40 lakhs in liquid funds. That's all for I-20. So once you have received your I-20, you'll see that on the top left corner there is a sevis number or a sevis ID that you need to use while making a sevis payment. Sevis is Student and Exchange Visitor Information System. It is basically a system in the US that tracks the data for all the F-1 and F-1 students. So it is a fee that you need to pay to validate your I-20, and it is an important document also in your visa process. And the fee is about $350 right now as I'm making the video. It might change in the future, I don't really know. It is required to be paid by all the F-1 visa holders. So basically you go to their website fmjfee.com, you select on pay I-901 fee, and an application form will open up where you need to enter your service ID, which is the number on your I-20 form, your last name, your given name, and your date of birth. Once you have entered these details, it will take you to another page where you need to enter the details regarding your university and the university's address. Make sure that all the details you enter are the same as the one on your I-20. So once you have made the service fee payment, it is very important for you to print the confirmation page. So that's all about service. You need to complete form DS-160. This form needs to be filled by anyone who is going to the US applying for any kind of visa. So you go to this website called ceac.state.gov. So you need to select the city you'll be going for the visa interview or appointment, and also what kind of visa you're applying for. In my case, I selected India Mumbai as my closest US embassy and non-immigrant visa. Talking about the form is one long ass form. Okay, it'll take you about 1.5 to 2 hours to fill the entire form. You need to enter your entire biodata. It's basically recording your entire history. In general, you need to enter your personal details, where you're staying, where you have stayed in the past, where you have studied, what are you planning to do in the US, where will you be staying in the US, your university, your father, your mother, your family, your immediate family in the US, if any. There is like a lot to fill in that form. The only tips I have for when you're filling this form is make sure to save every time you fill out a page before moving on to the next one, because the server refreshes every 20 minutes. So in case you do not save, you'll have to refill the form all over again. So just make sure you save and then go to the next page. So once you start filling the form, there will be an ID associated to your form. You need to keep that handy because every time the server refreshes, you enter that ID, you answer your security question, and I think you enter your date of birth to access that form again. Once you have filled out that form, you need to print your DS-160 form confirmation too. Moving on, this is the last step, I swear. The next step in the process is to schedule an appointment or a visa interview in your closest US embassy. You have to create an account on US Travel Docs. Once you've created an account, they'll ask you a series of questions of what kind of visa you're applying for, which is the closest embassy, and if you have any dependents along with you or not. You have to fill out your basic information like your name, your passport number, your address, and the university's address that you'll be enrolling into. So once you have done that, you have to make the visa fee payment, which is about $185. So for visa payment, I paid over the counter, which means that I went to the nearest Axis Bank branch and I gave them $185, which is around 15,200 rupees, I think, in cash. and they gave me a receipt for my payment, and then I entered that receipt number on the US Travel Docs portal. It took 48 hours for that payment to be processed, which means that for the first 48 hours my receipt number was not valid on the portal. So don't worry, it takes time. Okay, so once you have paid the visa fee based on the information you have filled in your DS-160, it will ask you a series of questions which helps you understand whether you're eligible for the interview waiver program or not. So what is the interview waiver program? It is basically a program that helps you skip the entire biometric interview process and get your visa home delivered to you. Now, how are you eligible for this program? You need to already hold a US visa of any class, as long as that visa was given to you post 2008 and post you turning 14 years old. So I already had a US visa which was issued to me in 2017. That is when I was 16 years old. Basically, it will ask you these series of questions on the portal, and depending on what you answer, at the end it will show if you're eligible for this program or not. In case you're not eligible for this program, the part after this is not going to be really helpful for you, so you can. I'm talking from my personal experience of what happened. I was eligible for this program and I opted for the premium delivery and pickup of my passport. At that time, I was really confused about what I should expect from this program because there was no information on the internet whatsoever. So you still need to book an appointment with the US Embassy. What I didn't know back then was that this appointment is only for dropping off your documents. I thought that I also had to go for my biometric session because I thought interview waiver program only waives me off from the interview part and not the biometrics. But if you're eligible for this program, you don't even have to go for your biometrics. So basically that appointment is for you to drop off certain documents that are needed to process your visa. So in India, there are 5 free of cost drop-off locations where you don't need to pay any money to drop off your documents, which are New Delhi, Bombay, Chennai, Hyderabad, Kolkata. And there are 6 paid locations, which are Chandigarh, Jalandhar, Ahmedabad, Pune, Bangalore, Kochi. Since I didn't know that I was not going to have my biometric session, on my appointment date, I traveled to Bombay. The best part of being an interview waiver applicant is you can drop off the documents at the closest VAC office. In case it is a paid one, you need to pay 650 rupees each way. If I had known and I was dropping it off in the Pune VAC office, I would have to pay them 650 rupees to send my documents from here to Bombay. Since I chose premium delivery of my passport, I had to pay them 650 rupees when my passport was being delivered back to my place. That means you need to pay 1300 rupees in case you're dropping off your documents and collecting your passport from paid locations. Coming to the main thing, that what all documents do you need to carry for this drop-off appointment. On your appointment confirmation letter, it mentions 8 important documents if you are applying for F-1 visa. Your confirmation page, that is your appointment confirmation page, your DS-160 confirmation page, 1 photo as per the US visa specification, all the available prior passports. 5th is a photocopy of marriage certificate for all spouses of principal applicants in the following visa classifications: F, M, J, R, H, LOP. So in case you're not married, you don't need this. Any prior visa which is still valid or expired, a photocopy of your form I-20, or if you're a spouse of an F-1 or M-1 applicant, then the photocopy of their I-20. So one thing that it does not mention on your appointment confirmation letter is your sevis payment confirmation, but you do need to carry that because they do ask you for it. These are the optional documents that I carried, like for just in case situations: my financial affidavit that I submitted for my I-20, my COVID-19 booster vaccination certificate, the attested copies of my Aadhaar card, PAN card, passport, a photocopy of my valid US visa, the acknowledgement receipt that Axis Bank gave me for paying the US fee over the counter. Now, the credit card statement of the credit card I used to pay my sevis fee. I also printed out the acceptance mail that my university sent when I got accepted. I also carried my Aadhaar card, my PAN card, all my prior passports, and I also carried extra photographs. Okay, now talking about my experience that day in the US Embassy Consulate. My appointment date was July 14th, 2023. My appointment time was 3:15 p.m. but I reached there early. I think I was there by 1:30 itself. But they let me go inside. They were like, it's okay, you can just go. And the document drop-off station was on the first floor. On the right hand side there were about 6 counters where people were dropping off their documents, and on the left hand side there were 3 or 4 counters from which people were collecting their passports. So my turn came like really quick since there were 6 functional counters. Once I reached the counter, the first thing they asked was for my appointment letter. Then they asked me for my current passport and any passport which has valid US visa. Then they asked me for a photocopy of my I-20, 2 photographs, and the sevis payment confirmation. That's all. Stamped my appointment confirmation letter and they gave it back to me, and then he said that my passport will be delivered to my home address between 7 to 14 days. So this was on July 14th, and then I checked the status of my visa on July 16th, but it said that no data had been received, which makes sense because Saturday is an off for the embassy. On July 17th, my application had been received, and on July 19th, my visa was issued. On July 21st, I got my visa. I'm telling you all of this on the basis of my personal experience. You do need to do your research. I don't want any of your visas to be rejected because of me, so. But I do hope this video helps you. Thank you for watching. See you guys the next time. Bye.